Good evening and welcome to the December 16th, 2021 meeting of the Mount Juliet Municipal and Regional Planning Commission meeting. Last one of the year. We have survived another year. A lot of changes in this year as we have gone from not many people here at all to full attendance to a reset up and reorganization of the way that we sit and hear the meetings. Lots of exciting things and opportunities happening in Mount Juliet. And just wanted to say Merry Christmas and very safe and happy holidays to everybody. And wishes for blessings to come forward for each and every one of us and families and citizens of Mount Juliet alike as 2022 approaches. Hopefully it's approached with safety and optimism and good health. And wish that for everyone out there. So as we begin our meeting tonight, we'll begin first with by setting our agenda. I am not aware of any changes or amendments. Seeing none, we will set our agenda as stated. Next item up on our agenda will be our staff reports. Briefly, Ms. Hamlin, which is here as a dedicated servant to the city of Mount Juliet, even though she is not feeling very well. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. That's all I have.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. I hope you feel better. Shane?
Merry Christmas as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A little bit under the weather too. Just wanted to say, hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas to come. Only thing I've got to discuss is we hired a new engineer. He started with us after Thanksgiving, Mr. Abraham. And I'm going to let him give a little bio about himself, but he's our new transportation project manager. He's going to be doing a lot of the capital and TDOT projects for us day to day. So,
well, good. Come on up here to the podium and introduce yourself. We got to put you on the spot.
Oh, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
My name is Abraham. I come from California, another of the people from California. I work in capital improvements for the city of San Diego for 3 years and a half. Did a lot of transportation, water and sewer. So I'm excited to bring some new stuff to the city.
Very well. Thank you. Welcome. Your family here with you or?
No, just my wife and I.
Wonderful. Welcome to Mount Juliet.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
You.
Thank you so much. With that being said, we will move to the next item on our agenda. Always read this one. This time we'll take citizen comments. Public is welcome and encouraged to make public comment about any item on our agenda. There'll be 2 opportunities for you to make comment. You may speak now, or you may speak when the item is presented to the Planning Commission. We do ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Anyone that wishes to address the Planning Commission at this time is welcome and encouraged to do so. And come to the microphone, name and address for the record. Seeing not very many citizens tonight, we will move forward with our next item on the agenda from citizen comments. Next item up is our minutes approval. Item 2.1, the Planning Commission regular meeting minutes from November 18th of 2021. Do I have any changes, errors, amendments, adjustments? Seeing none, looking for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda. Got a motion and a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Aye. Against? Abstentions? So approved. Next item up on our agenda is our consent agenda. We'll begin with item 3.1, the Golden Bear Gateway Road Improvement Development Letter of Credit, number 694-08856-6, or excuse me. Repeat that one more time. Letter of credit number 694-08856-767 can be reduced by 25% of the project cost to $310,765.75. Item 3.2, Kelsey Glenn Phase 5A Sewer Letter of Credit number SLC 00005447 in the amount of $30,501 can be released. Item 3.3, Kelsey Glenn Off-Site Sewer Letter of Credit, number SLC 00005740 in the amount of $133,114.25 can be released. Item 3.4, review the PUD amendment for the Paddocks at Mount Juliet, located at 555 Pleasant Grove Road. Item 3.5, review the final master development plan for Winfield Phase 1 located near Central Pike and South Rutland Road. Item 3.6, review the modification of the preliminary plat for Winfield Phase 1 located near Central Pike and South Rutland Road. Item 3.7, review the final master development plan, Winfield Phase 2 through 4 located near Central Pike and South Rutland Road. Item 3.8, review the modification of the preliminary plat for Winfield Phases 2 through 4 located near Central Pike and South Rutland Road. Anything for us, Ms. Hamlin?
Staff recommends approval with any conditions listed. I just want to point out that item 3.4 is a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners.
Very well. Anything from Public Works? Questions or comments from the commission? See no questions or comments. I'd like to call for citizen comments at this time. Any citizens wishing to make comment about any item on our consent agenda are welcome and encouraged to do so. And please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. See no citizen comments. I'm looking for a motion in regards to the items on our consent agenda. Ooh, that was a tie. She made a motion to approve.
I'll second. Let him have it.
All right. Commissioner Series, you made the motion. Commissioner Christensen with the second, and that includes a positive recommendation on item 3.4, I do believe. So with that, all those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? So approved and so positively recommended. Next item up on our agenda is also a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners. It is item 4.1 is to review the out-of-city sewer request for the Cedar Grove Baptist Church located at 131 Cedar Grove Church Road. Ms. Hammer? Nothing?
Public Works.
Very well. Mr. Shimmer?
So Pastor Steve, he's with us here tonight. I'm going to let him speak, but they're doing some renovations. They're planning to do some renovations to their church, and they wanted to hook onto our sewer system. They are outside of city limits. They're non-contiguous, and it's another perfect candidate to allow for them to direct their wastewater flow into our system. We had a resident that had that a few months ago. I believe, you can correct me on this, Mr. Steve, your on-site sewer is failing, correct? Or it's starting to go bad. And we want to just help this pastor and his congregation out by getting them dependable sewers. So I was going to have him come up and
Please.
speak for just a little bit.
Come to the microphone. Name and address for the record.
Tell him what he's got.
Good afternoon. My name is Steve Willingham. I reside at 355 Windhaven Bay here in Mount Juliet, and the church is located at 131 Cedar Grove Church Road. And I've had a vision for Cedar Grove Church as the expansion is going on around us. Right now, we are able probably to seat 125 at capacity. And like I said, I talked to Mr. Shannon, our sewer system is kind of failing us a little bit, and we're not able to get sewer up. But after talking to Shane and sending in for a sewer request to Mr. Barlow, he's allowed us to know that sewer is available there to do, but it's got to go through the planning commission. So after we put in the request, I quickly came and paid for the out-of-city sewer, and so now we're here today. And so it's an honor for I'm glad y'all allowed me to speak. But there's a vision for Cedar Grove Church, and I know with the growth going around us, with the apartments going up, and I know sooner or later down the road there's going to be 400 houses or more on the golf course, and that's right in our facility. And somebody's going to want to know God more, and Cedar Grove probably going to be a place that they'll want to come. And I want to be there for the expansion, for that to have room for the growth that's going on around us. So, and I appreciate y'all taking time, and that's all I have to say. And, you know, as a pastor, I can talk a little more, but 3 minutes is up. So I thank y'all for allowing me to speak, and I pray that the planning commission just look at it and give us grace.
Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all.
I got a quick question for staff. What was it? Maybe earlier this year, last year, didn't we annex rezone the corner of Cedar Grove Church Road and Nottable?
No.
That was not annexed. That was out of city sewer as well. That was 5
We did them all as
residential
out of
lots.
city sewer. Very well. Okay.
That was my question, because we granted this
Yeah.
house just in front of them, so.
Very well. Note to self, good reason why we should request annexation and rezone oftentimes when we hear these requests. Because that would begin to make sense and would begin to help that whole road, not just the church and everything.
The state law changed and prohibits us from aggressive
Forcing it.
annexation. So
Yeah.
we can't really force anybody to annex, but
We can turn them
this
down
is
for
the
sewer.
situation, exactly what
yeah.
we need to start doing.
We can turn them down for sewer. Very well. Thank you. Further questions or comments from the commission? Seeing no questions or comments, this time I'll call for citizen comments regards this item on the agenda. Seeing still not very few citizens here. I'd like to ask for a recommendation in regards to this item on our agenda. That's a second. That's a motion and a second for a positive recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? That's a positive recommendation. One step closer. Good luck with you guys. Yes, sir. The next item up on the agenda is item 5.1. It's to review the land use plan amendment to move RS-15 zoning classification to high-density residential.
Thank you.
Ms. Hammer.
Vice Mayor Justice has reached out to the planning department to try to get this through you guys for a positive vote. His concern is several subdivisions that come in under that RS-15 zoning. The lot sizes are so small, it doesn't really match the land use of medium density. It's more of a high density subdivision in nature due to the lot sizes. For instance, Winfield, Harrington, and Bradshaw Farms are all zoned RS-15. Minimum lot size of 5,500 square feet to 5,000, and average lot size between 6,700 to 7,000 square feet lots, which that is more typical in a high density environment. So his request is to change RS-15 zoning into high density rather than the medium density designation that it is in today.
Very well. How would that affect either anything currently approved out there? I mean, we don't have anything.
It would just be going forward.
Just be going forward.
Yes, sir.
So somebody, we gave somebody an RS-15 and they have not moved forward and this is adopted, they could technically reapply.
They could, their land use plan wouldn't change necessarily. It'll just be for any future land use plan amendments. They would need to ask for high density residential rather than medium density residential.
Very good. Any negative effects on this?
I don't think so. The 10,000 square foot minimum just passed the BOC on Monday night. So I think that that'll help us start seeing a little bit larger lot sizes come through anyways. It's high I mean, in my opinion, RS-15 at a 5,000 square foot lot, I mean, that's high density.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, an apple's an apple.
Very well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Questions or comments from the commission? And since this is land use plan, we approve this. It's not a recommendation. item.
Correct.
Very well. Commissioner Cunningham?
Yeah, I question on this. So this would be a citywide blanket policy, right? My concern with this would be, and I don't know that I have any, I would need to do further research on it, but are there areas that really should not, I think this is, the idea behind this is to have larger lots, right, citywide. Are there areas that are going to be affected by this that really this shouldn't be classified, right? So like if you go into higher density areas right now, so I'll use Providence, for example, or somewhere where it's high density, and that's appropriate to have higher density in those areas. Are we now going to be changing that in areas where high density is appropriate? How will this have an effect on that?
Well, so your density is basically given to you in your zoning.
Mhm.
So as long as we approve the zoning and the land use plan, then there should be no negative effect. It's the smaller lot sizes. So for instance, an RS-15 PUD, you can have, well, not now, but previously you could have down to a 5,000 square foot lot. Now the minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet. So basically any subdivision that comes in with 15,000 square foot lot or less will be classified as high density rather than medium density. Medium density is the 20,000 square foot lots. So that's where I don't think it would discourage. If there's an area that's suitable for high density, then you guys would approve for it to be changed to that. There are no available high density lots in the city currently, so there would have to be an amendment made there. So medium density is what is more available throughout the city, and that would be an RS20's designation.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
One of the things it does do is that currently, as we sit right now, if this body chooses not to amend the land use plan and somebody had come in, it can't go forward to the BOC. Underneath this, our land use plan basically puts all of it on the BOC. So basically, it moves planning commission out of the way, essentially. I mean, we can negative recommend a project, but it can be approved at BOC. And the one mechanism that this body has to prevent that from going to the BOC would be the land use plan. So if we amend the land use plan, everything gets fully adopted and it's 100% in control of the BOC. That is one thing that happens.
Yeah, that was, and I've spoken to the vice mayor about this, and I know his intentions behind this is in his district where he's got a lot of medium density zoning, and he's looking to open that up a bit by increasing the lot sizes. So I guess my question is, I guess there's two ways you can tackle this. One, what we're talking about right now. The other is looking at the land use map and seeing if there's areas now that are designated medium density, should those be considered low density, and are there high density that should be considered medium density, vice versa. So I don't know the right answer to that. I don't know how often the land use map is reviewed.
About
I
5
think
years.
it was about 5 years.
Yeah, it's about right.
2017 was the last update.
2017. So it's coming up within the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So, but this will ultimately, what this is going to do is force more projects to come in as a PUD. Is that correct?
Correct.
Which I think is ultimately what the vice mayor is also wanting to push for. So
That is the push.
that's the push. Yeah. And to spread things out, which I agree with him on that. So that was my only comment.
Mhm. His concern too is the infrastructure in his
Right.
district just cannot support those I'm sorry, I cannot talk, those high density developments. So
That's correct.
that's the push for him.
The high density right now is pretty much concentrated in the Providence I-40 corridor.
Correct.
Unless it's coming in as a PUD, there's going to be no straight zoning for RS-15.
Absolutely.
So that goes away unless there's a land use amendment that
Correct.
comes with it. So, okay. I'm on the fence. I haven't decided yet. I'll decide here in a minute, but
I'm on the fence too. So
What's that?
I got you. It's a difficult decision. There's no available high density lots currently on the map.
right.
So anytime somebody would want to rezone to RS-15, they would have to come to you guys first for a land use amendment.
Okay.
More readily available is that medium density classification that RS-15 is currently in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was it.
So they'd still have to modify. So we have no high density on the land use map right now. I didn't think we did.
No vacant.
So you're still, regardless of what we do tonight, you're still going to have to modify the land use plan. So we still do have that mechanism.
Yes, you do still have that control.
Good discussion. Did we answer your questions or kind of?
Yeah, and then one more thing too. Like this was brought up in, I think it was a BOC meeting, and something came up very similar to this. And I think it's appropriate that I interject my background about some of this. So one of the questions was, how will this affect property values? And I think everybody, if you're a landowner or a property owner sitting in Mount Juliet, you would like to know the answer to that question. Now, by no means am I the Nostradamus of real estate, but I have watched these things transpire in different cities. I do a lot of my work in the city of Brentwood as well. And I watched over there that there's a minimum 1 acre over in the city of Brentwood right now. And what I've watched happen there and other places is the initial thoughts are going to be, well, my gosh, my property value is going to go down because if you own a piece of land, like a landowner owns, say, 50 acres and it's going to be subdivided or whatever it may happen, my value is going to go down because you can't get as high a density there. And as I watched these transpire years ago, it was much to my surprise that values actually went up because of it. And then it became a more exclusive community. So, and how that worked was you could develop less lots, but the landowners weren't really keen on selling their land for less money. So that kind of stayed consistent, stayed steady right there. So the developers would come in and they'd pay that same amount of money, but for them to, the developers aren't a charity, right? They have to be profitable. So, and they take huge risks to do this. So they go in and when the market's ready, they will develop the land on a bigger lot. But if you have the golden rule there is the developed lot cost has to be between 20 and 25% of your overall price of the exit price on the home. So with that lot cost being higher, you then need to build larger homes, which have a much higher exit price, which ultimately makes all the property values around for everybody increase. So there's an aspect of that. I heard some contention on this, a similar bill here at the BOC, as to how that may negatively impact property values. But what I've seen in my history is I've actually watched them increase because of it.
It's good stuff. Good information. Further thoughts, discussion? We're kind of chewing on that for a minute. Let's go ahead and call for citizen comments. Any citizens here or around that wish to make a comment? Which aren't very many. See no citizen comments. Further discussion, or I'll go ahead and move if someone would like to make a motion. Table is open.
It's a positive recommendation.
It is actually a vote. It is not a recommendation. Yep, we decide as this body for the land use plan.
Motion to approve.
Second that.
It's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? So that is a approval. One of the things is Commissioner Hefner, before we get a motion to adjourn, that might be a good thing. I don't know that there are any changes, but definitely end of the year always is a time of planning for anything that we do. Hey, I'm going to make my New Year's resolution, or I want to do this around the house, or I would like to accomplish this. I know I personally reached out to Andy over the last 2 or 3 weeks that I'm going to try to bring something forward on these speed tables. And they're a little, my opinion, out of control. I found some really good documentation on them, getting standards to them. I personally drive a car that I cannot even take over some of them right now without it fully flattening, ruining my car. So not to mention a night like tonight, it makes me think of, who's overseeing them? How are we getting to the point to where we are with them, and who's making the decision on them? My personal thought is I think that they ought to all come before us before installed somewhere. And needs to come before this body, and we need to get some firm standards on them. And everything that I've run, I've got one of them right now in particular. They are not mechanisms to control stop signs and traffic. They're made to calm and slow traffic, and I think they're highly appropriate and can be used. But I think that we have some in that are not necessarily desirable. So I'd like to bring that, but with that as well, to if it's the land use plan, good time to maybe open that up. I don't know that there's really amendments or changes. I guess if we did that, that would be the 4th or 5th time that I think I've seen it, and I've been here since 2005 now. On the land use plan. We also brought in the transportation plan. We've paid for secondary studies. One time it took us a little bit over a year to pull it together through the University of Tennessee. I forget what you guys call it. MTAS. Did that. I think the city spent around $50,000 at one point during one of the studies, and we've done it all in-house as well. So that's a big thing that we have now. And just looking at our hiring here and the new engineer and Mr. Shimura as well, and Mr. Barlow. It's amazing the way our staff and experience and knowledge has changed since the first time. I can remember the first time. Yeah, that looks good there. But now to see some more qualified. So if you guys have something that you would like to bring that's a concern or something that we need to discuss up here as a body, I would encourage you to be part of your planning and whatnot. And that's part of the reason why we're called the Planning Commission, is to try to have some foresight ahead of us and think about where we're going. At the same time, remember what is behind us and what got us to where we are. So kind of leave it on that note right there, and wish everybody again a Merry Christmas and very safe holidays, and wishes for health and happiness for each and everybody. So with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
One quick last.
Please, Commissioner Rass.
I don't think it's been said yet, but thank you for the gifts.
No, you're welcome.
Yes.
Jill and Tyler
Jill,
get all the credit for that. I have been
yeah.
out sick all week long, so
Thank you very much.
they picked out all your goodies.
And while I'm on the floor, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Got a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise their hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? None. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
See you in 2022.